Houston, say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, and welcome ye all to another vlog this week. After me saying I couldn't see there being another vlog, well, there is one, because I just can't help myself, people. There's been more purchases and my t-shirt arrived. So, you know, well, there's two t-shirts of Nintendo styling, and this is one of them, and you shall see the, well, most likely you'll see the other one in about an hour, the way I'm doing vlogs at the minute. Yeah. You'll see the other one next time, although I will try and wear them for something Nintendo specific, might be the idea. I'm going to try and invest in some more gaming t-shirts, actually. I usually, in days gone by, I had like The Walking Dead, which I still wear, to be fair. The Walking Dead, Batman, and several others. There was about 4 of them, a Jurassic Park one. And those ones I got from HMV, and they're great, you know, but they've started to fade a bit now. I've been wearing them for God knows how long, and then the last few videos I've not even bothered putting those ones on because I think you guys have seen them that much. So it's quite nice to have this today. So this arrived and the other t-shirt arrived. I told you about those in the last vlog a little bit, although I didn't say what was on them. I just said they were Nintendo specific. They are both Mario t-shirts, though, to be fair. And for anyone who ever is interested as to where I got my t-shirts from in any of these videos, it is just Amazon. At the minute, anyway. If I find another place that's got them, then fine. They did have, however, I love the t-shirts, but they both have quite flappy sleeve bits, of which I'm not a massive fan. So I've gone all 80s on your ass and I've rolled them up. It's what I used to do with me short sleeve shirts and everything in the summer in the 80s, people. I tell you, that was a long time ago. So there you are. So I've gone all 80s on you, and I've got them, you probably can't even see it, to be fair, but I've got them rolled up to take that flappiness out. I can't be doing with t-shirts with big flappy arm bits. So there you are. So the t-shirts arrived, but we knew about them. What we didn't know about was the 3 more Switch games I was going to buy. Another recording device I was going to buy, and a little cable to go with that. So let's, without further ado, crack into what the hell I've been up to since the last vlog. So I did much research, and I'll tell you what, we'll do the games last. We'll do the recording equipment first. Okay, so we have a brand new game recording device. Elgato one. Now, I've been putting off buying this simply because there is only one difference between this and the one that I already have. So it is the Elgato HD60S, and the one that I'm using at the moment is the Elgato HD60 without the S. And the only difference between the two is that the S is USB 3.0 and the without an S, HD60, is USB 2.0. And this one, the S1, will only work if you've got a USB 3.0, although we don't say the .0 part, do we? USB 3, it'll only work if you've got a USB 3 socket on your machine. Now, I kept putting it off because I couldn't remember. I knew that in my head, I had that my laptop had one USB 3, and I thought it might get awkward if I have to use that slot for the recording device, and I want the freedom to be able to move it around. I've got 3 USB ports on my laptop, and I wanted the freedom to move whatever. So I kept putting it off for that reason. Anyway, it came about yesterday. My son texted me and said, out of the blue, I might add. No, well, it's a bit harsh. He texts me every day, to be fair, but pretty much. But he texted me out of the blue on this subject, which was how much is a capture device? And I said, well, I said they're usually about 140, 150 pounds for the Elgato one, which is the one I use. And then I started breaking down what he needed to make sure that he had, make sure, you know, well, your PC or your laptop needs to have a specific spec and so on and so forth. So this all came about because he's looking at, he's a massive Final Fantasy fan. He was right into Final Fantasy as a young lad. Final Fantasy X, which I've probably talked about on some of my vlogs before, was a massive, we played that game inside and out. I have so many good memories of him being a little boy, and I you know, us playing that game together in Final Fantasy X. So it was kind of our game of the time. And so he continues to love Final Fantasy games, and he'll play all of them as much as he can, anywhere he can. And he's delighted, obviously, that the Final Fantasies are coming to the Nintendo Switch at some point next year, I think. Everything apart from 13, I think, again. So that's going to be really good to see. However, anyway, all that aside, he wanted to he's been trying to do a speed run of the Final Fantasy X, I think. So he's now getting sort of semi-serious about it, and he wants to possibly try recording a speed run so that he can submit it to wherever you submit these speed runs to. So that's where all of that came about from. So I said to him, I said, look, make sure you buy the HD60, not the HD60S, because he said his Mac wasn't up to as much as it used to be. And it most definitely wouldn't have had USB 3 on it. So I said, just make sure of that. Anyway, long story short, of which it's too late to say anyway, because I'm making a long story of it anyway. You just sit and listen to, all right? It turned out, in fact, that they don't actually manufacture the HD60 version of this anymore. You can only buy the S version. And I also then discovered that this was on the Black Friday deals with 50 quid off it, and it was 99 quid, which then made me think, you know what, this could be the time to just sort out my thought process on the laptop and check what it is that I've got. So I checked the spec of my laptop, and it turned out that actually I've got 2 USB 3.0 ports and 1 USB 2.0. So I decided that I would treat myself to the HD60S, and he would get the HD60. And I'm now forgetting if I've even told you what the difference is, but the difference between the two, the reason that there's a benefit to having it on 3.0 as opposed to 2.0 is that there is no delay between the capture on the TV and what you're seeing on the laptop. When I'm currently recording, there's like maybe a 2 to 3 second delay on what's happening on the picture that's being shown on the laptop that's being captured onto the one on the machine. And that has no impact on recording and stuff. You guys don't even see that. And it has no impact on streaming either. It is solely a visual thing. If you are sat at the laptop, everything's in sync. It's bang on time. And that's the only difference. So what's happening on the TV is exactly what's happening on the laptop, which is nice, and it'll be good to have that. But it wasn't a must because it makes no difference to what you guys see when I'm recording or streaming. Absolutely none. So, any lag there is in us when we're streaming is all to do with the YouTube thing, and I've got that on low latency now, and there seems to be all of like 5 seconds of a delay or something. I don't even think it's that. So I think we're all sorted. So anyway, so it was a good excuse to get it. So we bought the device itself, and along with it, although you shouldn't extend these too much, they're not a big fan of being extended too far. But to go with it, I just need a bit extra to get from where the TV. If the TV sockets were on the right hand side of the TV, I wouldn't need it. But because they're on the left and it's 55 inch, so you've got to go all the way to the other side of it to then bring the cable back round to the laptop, which is over here. It's just shy of being able to make it. So I've bought this 3 meter USB 3.0 extension lead. I've got about 5 of these leads, and they're all 2.0. So you must make sure that everything matches 3.0. Anyone who ever considers doing any of this sort of stuff, make sure that if you're thinking about the HD60S, you've got to have a USB 3 put on your laptop or PC to use it with. It will not function without a USB 3. Won't function. If you're buying a second-hand one, the HD60 with no S at the end, just HD60, that'll work fine with USB 2. And USB 3 for that matter. But obviously it'll have you can use it on any USB port. It's just that it will still have the lag. This one only works with a 3 port. It won't work in the 2. It's not backward compliant. So there you are. I mean, it does specifically say it on the front, although it doesn't say won't bloody work with a 2. You know, like lots of these things say on them that it's a 3, and everyone assumes, oh, well, it's a 3, so it'll work with a 2 and a blah and a blah. It doesn't. It does not work with a 2 socket, this thing. It's got to be in a 3 port. So there you are. I didn't see much point in unboxing it. It is what it is. Well, it just slides out of the cover there. I don't think there's going to be anything special inside. And there you go. So that's the little device in there. Won't tip it up too far. And it's exactly the same as the other one, apart from it's got an S on it. The only thing, I might be lucky and it's got a slightly longer lead than the other one had, and I won't need the extension. But the extension is always useful to have anyway, one way or to the people. So there you are. So that was a £99 outlay that I hadn't anticipated, but I'm quite chuffed that I got it, and I can now just give the other one to my son. To be fair, my son, he was like, "Oh, I'll give you some money for it." I was like, I don't get many chances to treat my boy, people, so he can have the other one. So he's delighted with that, so I'll get that. It depends when he's coming down again. I'll either post it up to him or he'll get it on his next visit. But I think probably posting it up to him will suit him better. So there you are. So there is the recording equipment side of things. So as you'll have seen from the channel, it's tiring work, people. Cheers, everybody. Flagons up. It's Friday. We can have a flagon, people. Cheers, y'all. I've got a drink story for later, actually. If I remember at the end of this ramble to tell you my drink story, I will do. For anyone who's remotely interested, for anyone who only wants to hear me talk about gaming, they're probably going, what is this guy going on about? I tuned in to see some recording equipment and some Switch stuff. Anyway, so, as you'll all have seen from this week's postings, the vlogs, and then the posting up of Zelda... The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, of which I've put up one piece of recording so far, an hour's worth, which is the beginning of the game. I have now recorded a part 2, a part 3, and a part 4 last night. Totally and utterly addicted to that game. And I've got them all ready. I've got one rendered, so I might actually get that up tonight. I've got 2 more to render. I'll get those up. Well, I'll probably just split them through the days. I don't want to... if you put stuff up too quickly, it never gets many views because folk just kind of forget it was there or whatever. So I'll maybe put one up tonight, one tomorrow, one Sunday, and then I'll record some more to go up after that. Don't worry if you're still waiting for more Divinity, and don't worry if you voted in the polls. I will do some of that stuff. I did the polls not because I was going to do it immediately. I wanted to get a gauge of what you guys would like me to do. That is all. So I know now that you want some Fallout 3. I know now that Divinity wasn't a poll, but Divinity Original Sin 2 is still coming, so don't worry. I know a lot of you guys were enjoying that. Bloodborne will still be coming with Craigie Boy. There's no stream obviously tonight because there was other things going on, and because I want to set up the new streaming device and capture device / streaming device and all those sorts of things, the whole thing, and with the Switch happening and wanting to do a vlog about these extra bits, it just didn't make sense to do a stream tonight, so we've put it off until next week for the next stream. But yes, we'll be doing Bloodborne after we finish Dead Space 2. What was the other one? And the people that are still very keen for me to do Dragon's Dogma. A bit more of that. So I need to have a think about that one as to how I'm going to do that, but and get my head back into that game. But it is in my mind, so don't worry. I have taken all the polls information in, and I did notice also people that were quite keen to see that didn't quite make the highest vote. I think Dragon Age Origins was one. I think there was quite a few folk that wouldn't have minded seeing a bit more of that. So I've still got that in my brain as well. So don't worry, it is all still in there. Obviously, with the Switch happening out of the blue, kind of, that's kind of thrown things into the swirl and the mix a bit. So I am obviously going to be focusing a bit more on Zelda. I'm going to squeeze in Divinity because I feel like I want to see I want to say I'm going to see that game to the end. I really do. But I am going to keep seeing it through for now because I'm determined to play that, because I love every time I finally sit down with it and play it, I can't stop playing it. Every time I need to think about getting back to it, it's like, when am I going to squeeze that in and blah, because it's a longer recording time with that one because it takes so long to do a battle. It takes so long to wander about searching every corner. So it's just time. It's a little bit like the Kingdom Come Deliverance. That's the one I'm looking for. It's not as bad as Kingdom Come Deliverance, but it's a bit like that so far as it is one that takes longer to record. It's not like the hour you see is the hour you get. Actually, it is, but the hour you see is there's not much happens in it because you've only got one fight and you've only searched quite a small area because there's so much you have to do with your inventory and your chatting and which is all a good thing, not a bad thing. It's just the time that I have to do it. That's all. So moving on to through this week, I was thinking, what other games could I... Well, after the last vlog, or the one that I can't remember. Yeah, the last vlog. The one that showed off the Switch, which was the last one, I think. I asked you guys for your opinions on... And I'm sorry, I forgot to... I meant to give shout-outs to people. I've totally forgotten who they are. But there were certain people that gave me a heads up on... one game in particular, which has arrived. The other two that I've ordered, I was hoping were going to be here actually, but they haven't arrived. So I'm going to try and do this on camera without having to cut the video in any way whatsoever. To give a few shout outs here. But it's Xenoblade Chronicles 2, people. RPG. Quite a few of you gave me the heads up on that. Yeah, there you go. So we've got Exquisite Misery. Gave me the heads up on that one. And... go on, Steve. You can do it. Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And King Orts, is it? Or Orts? King Orts. There you go. We got there, people. So those two. King Orts and Exquisite Misery. Both gave me the heads up on... Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So at which point, don't you hate a silence in a video? It's like, oh no, he's lost it. He's lost it, people. I had it under control. Yeah, so they gave me the heads up on the game, and I immediately went off to look at the sort of footage of it and the reviews, of which were just outstanding. You know, the reviews were amazing. The gameplay footage is right up my street, so I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that. I've not done an unboxing like I did with the other two, but it has got some really quite nice art in it. I love this with these Nintendo boxes. Like, you're not getting a manual, but you're getting this beautiful artwork inside. It's a really clever idea, because what you get with the other companies is, well, we're saving the trees, you see. It's like, yeah, but, you know, back in the day, it was like, oh, smell the manual, and how nice is that colour manual? Oh, it's a black and white manual. They didn't go all out on it. That sort of thing, you know. Now, you do get a manual with some of the games. Very rare now, though, and usually it's something trying to sell you something else that's shoved inside. And all you get is a plain inside. Whereas with these... you get this beautiful artwork. And the problem is, of course, that the other two cases aren't see-through like this plastic is. So they can't have this artwork coming through the case the way that these do. But it's a beautiful idea. It's really cleverly thought through. So they've still got the colour of Nintendo, of the red that they wanted, but they haven't covered the whole case in it. They've kept the case clear, and they've put the nice artwork at the back of the sleeve. And even the back of the boxes are nice, in most cases. So, yeah, delighted with that. There's only one concern. Okay, in fact, I'm going to say this concern while I'm on with it, because I'll probably forget otherwise. And then we'll talk about the other two games that I've ordered and I thought would be here today, but they'll arrive tomorrow morning, no doubt. I got them from the game collection. They're usually within a day. Sometimes straight after, other times. It depends what time you order them, I guess. The only thing that's concerning me, look, people, it's so beautiful. I love this thing. I've not even played it like this yet, and I just love it, though. The only thing that I'm not so keen on is where you have to put memory cards. There's a little leg here which pops out and lets you flick it out, and it lets you sit it upright like so. Right, so you've got a little leg that sits out like this. I won't do it because it's a little bit fiddly, and I'm not finding it particularly stable. I think that could have been a bit more solid, and I will never use that. However, I have to open it because that's where the SD card goes to save your stuff on. Now, that's not such a bad thing because I've got 128 gig in there. And I'm buying physical games, so I'm not going to be putting that much on it at the moment. That's my thought process. However, that might change, and I might want to put another card in, or you might have several cards, you want to swap them out. So you're going to be going in and out here quite a lot. I'm not convinced about how robust that is for being opened and closed all the time. That said, there's people that carry these things all around and prop them up all the time. I'm wondering if anyone has actually broken one yet or not. So anyway, so it's something that's in the side thought of my brain. The other thing is, the place that you put the actual games, the physical copies, are here. It's just a little bit that... Let me try and get this on camera. So it's this little thing that... Not doing very well here, am I? It's this little thing here that slides out, like most little memory card things, and then it slides back in. But it's just sort of bendy plastic. But that is something that I'm going to be using all of the time, because that I'm using physical games mostly. And then you pop the game out, just to show you, and it comes out of there. So I'm going to be popping in and out of there a lot. Now, it doesn't feel like it's going to break, but it's not the most robust thing I've ever seen in my life, again, much like the back thing. So I'm going to be curious to see just how... I'm going to be very gentle with it, obviously, when I'm doing it, but I'm going to be very curious to see just if I do ever experience any problems. I'd also be interested to know if anyone has actually broken one of them that hasn't been overly rough with it, but over time has just gone. I have this thing in my brain about having to have a physical copy of the game. And it's stupid, because it makes so much more sense to have a digital version. Because if you lose this, if you lose the pack that it's in with all your games in it, you've lost everything. Whereas if you lose your pack with the game and the console in it, at the very least, if you've bought digital versions and you get another one of these, you can download your games again. So it makes absolutely no sense to be buying physical copies to some extent, especially with a portable device that you might take somewhere else. But I love the box, I love the artwork, I love getting the little chip. I mean, there's a tiny little chip in that box, but I just like having the physical version. It's just me, and it's because I'm old. But you know what I mean? I just love having them. Anyway, so that was just a few little concerns that I have about it. They're probably concerns for no reason. Somebody raised the issue that maybe I should have got a screen protector for it to stop it getting scratched when it goes in and out the dock. It turns out actually that was some pretty fake news. When the thing first came out, loads of fake news propped up everywhere saying, oh, it's getting scratched in and out of the... I couldn't find one person that had managed to scratch their thing. When you actually Google it, the amount of folks saying that they've never seen it happen to theirs, and they take it in and out all the time. And so it does seem to be somewhat of a fake news, that one. Although I do appreciate the heads up to the person that gave it to me, because it's good to check these things out. Anyway, back to the other games that I have purchased, people. I have also purchased... Now, I'm going very heavily down the RPG route as much as I can with the Switch, because I feel like that's where I'm going to get the most pleasure and joy out of it, along with a few platformers which I can do out of the channel. I won't do those on the channel, but I really, really want this thing to be my go-to device for when I just want to, like, maybe I'm waiting for something to render and I still want a game, but I don't want a game on that game because I've got to do another episode for the channel. And, you know, it's like my save is what it is. I can't, you can't carry on a game and then jump back into the channel 3 places on where you guys saw the last part if you're following a Let's Play, say. So it's nice to have games that I don't need to put on the channel that I can just game with. And I haven't played platformers in a really long time. And hence, when I showed in the last vlog, I got Super Mario Odyssey, which I've only played the once but thoroughly enjoyed it. I played it for about 2 hours or something. It was great. So the other 2 games I've got are Octopath Traveler, which is another RPG, different style to Xenoblade Chronicle. Well, it's a different style in its game style, but it's similar in its battle system, I suppose, because it's still going down that sort of JRPG type of route. But again, on the surface of it, I thought that, it looks a bit like a 2D RPG or whatever. Is that going to suit me? But actually, when I looked at the gameplay and it's got a really, really sweet. It's almost like a homage to the old 16-bit sort of RPGs, but with this smelting with new graphics and new. So it looks 2D when you're playing it sometimes, but they do actually go in and out of. It is a 3D area. It looks gorgeous. If you haven't checked it out, go and check out some Octopath Traveler. My son's played both Octopath Traveler and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I didn't know until I'd ordered them, to be fair. And he enjoyed both of them. They both have, especially Octopath Traveler. On the surface of it, from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's kind of, oh, here's your bog standard JRPG turn-based blah. But in fact, it goes quite deep. When you get into it, it goes quite deep about how you use what things against what enemy types, what power types, and you have to get really thoughtful about what you're doing in battles. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into Octopath Traveler, and obviously Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I noticed there's also a Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Golden Circle. It's not the Golden Circle, Golden something. God's sake, I hope it's not as bad as Golden Circle. That was an awful film. Anyway, I think it's kind of a DLC, but you don't need to have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to play it. You can just buy it by itself. And it's a prequel to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I think it connects somehow between the two games as a prequel. But there is no need to have this before you get that. No idea whether it's as good as this or good, bad, or indifferent, really. So there you are. So I've got those two games. So I got Octopath Traveler and Donkey Kong. Did I say that already? I can't remember. So I eventually caved in and got Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which was on the Wii U. And was it ported from the Wii to the Wii U? I don't know. It could have been a Wii U game. It's now been ported to. It might have jumped 3 places. I don't know, 2 places instead of 1. But anyway, fantastic reviews for Donkey Kong. It's supposed to be amazing. I mean, I was watching the gameplay of that as well, and it is such. The guy I saw reviewing it said it's probably the best platformer he's ever played. It is that good, and it looks incredible on the Switch. You know, having been sort of ported twice or once or whatever, it does look great in 1080p and such like. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing a bit of that off of camera. And I'll let you go. But I mean, at the moment, I'll continue to let you guys know how I'm enjoying the Switch. Obviously, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Octopath Traveler I will do some of on the channel, and if it's popular, I'll do more. Bear in mind, as I said before, anything Nintendo is immediately copyrighted. I make no money from it, so I'm doing it simply for the joy. I say it 100 times, people. I don't do this channel for money. I do it for the love of gaming and sharing it with people and getting their feedback and hearing about your stories. And keep talking to me, people, because I love it when you leave comments and I love it when you speak to me. It doesn't even have to be anything major. Just say hello. Just tell me how your gaming is going. Tell me what you thought of the games I'm mentioning are. And just keep talking to me, because that's exactly why I created the channel. I created the channel to communicate with other gamers, people that have a similar frame of mind as me to gaming, enjoy the same sort of things I do, or bring people that might not have played something fresh that they might then want to try, and all those sorts of things, people. There you are. Now, it's just dawned on me. We have done all this with the gaming stuff now, so if I'm going to bore you with my drink story, then by all means just sod off if you really want to. I will. You won't hurt my feelings. And I shall see you in the next one when I start talking about games again. But anyway, last week when I was having my flagon of ale, people, like you do. Cheers, everyone. I'm going to do it again. Live on camera. Well, recorded on camera, not live. It is thirsty work, though, to be fair. Anyway, last week when I was having my flagon, I was like, I really, really want a drink of something, but I don't want a beer again. Much as though I love a beer, I just had this want to have something else. Something with ice or, So anyway, immediately I thought, I know loads of people that drink Jack Daniels. So I'll buy a bottle. I mean, I know I'm not a young man, people. I have lived many years on this planet, but I haven't spent any of them trying liqueurs or whiskies or anything. So anyway, I went and bought this Jack Daniels. Bottle of Jack Daniels, and got it back, poured myself a Jack Daniels, took one sip of it and was like, oh. This awful face of like, oh, Jesus Christ. So that's never touched my lips again, and it won't be doing again either. So, so I've got a full bottle of Jack Daniels in the kitchen. At which point I was PlayStation messaging LLC Cool C Plays. Did I actually say that right for the first time ever? LLC Cool C Plays. I've said it twice now. If that's right, it could be wrong. But you know who you are, LLC. So I was messaging him at the time, and he was like, oh, don't drink that pish, Steve. Jack Daniels, what are you doing? I said, well, what do you suggest? And he said, Southern Comfort's your babe. All right, fine. So I went and got myself a bottle of Southern Comfort. And sure enough, it was absolutely lovely. I really liked that. So we have an almost full bottle of Southern Comfort in there. So I've got that to try. And then I was at my for my weekly head shave, people, this week. Wow, it's not often you see me without my hat on, people, but that's why I wear a hat. So I get a weekly head shave now that my hair doesn't grow as it did once. I was telling this story to the lovely girl that does the head shaving once a week, and she was like, "Oh, what tastes do you like?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "Well, anything." I said, "There's not really much I don't like in the world of taste." I said, "What sort of taste?" She said, "Well, what do you like? Coconut? Do you like, And then she kept going with all these things, and she went marzipan. I was like, marzipan. There's a drink that tastes like marzipan. Tell me about this magnificent heavenly beverage you're talking about. Disaronno, I think I'm saying that right. And she goes, Disaronno. I was like, oh, I'm going to have that. I said, well, I should really get through this bottle of Southern Comfort first. I said, but you know what I'm like? I said, well, she doesn't know what I'm like. I said, but you know what it's like? I'll probably get to Tesco and there'll be like an offer on or something. And I'll end up buying it. Anyway, I left it at that, and I said goodbye and what have you. So anyway, after that I went to Tesco, and sure enough I go to the counter with all my bits and a few extra beers, and I'm looking behind the counter, on purpose I might add. I'm looking for Disaronno, and I'm like, ooh. And there it was for a tenner, and so I had £5 off it, which is what I pretty much said, I think. I was like, oh, to hell with it, people. So I've now got a bottle of Disaronno there, which I haven't, if I've been saying that wrong, I'm sure it's Disaronno. Excuse me, people. Burping on camera. So I've got a bottle of Disaronno there, but I'm not having any because I've bought some ice cube holders. I've put ice cubes in the fridge earlier, so I wanted to have it with a bit of ice. So I may treat myself to one of those later. So there you are. So I've discovered, well, I haven't tasted the Disaronno yet, but I said to her, I think, ages ago, I think somebody might have got me to taste that in a pub. Because I do distinctly remember somebody letting me taste something and it tasted a bit like marzipan ages ago. It was only a sip. So I'm hoping it's the same thing. So there you are. So we have Southern Comfort and Disaronno, and that Jack Daniels is getting drank by guests because I'm not touching it again. It was horrible. I am quite clearly not a whiskey or bourbon man, people. There you are. So there you are. That was it. It wasn't a very exciting story. I didn't say it was. I just said it was a drink story. So don't blame me if you didn't like it. So there you are, people. More Switch games. More recording shiz. I mean, it's all happening. The actual... Is it on? Yes, it is. Press it 3 times. All right, you are. Don't know why you have to do that. So it's building up, people. It's building up. So we've got Hollow Knight in there as well. I think I mentioned Hollow Knight already. Hollow Knight was only a tenner. So there you go. So we've got Zelda, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Mario Odyssey, Hollow Knight, and then to add to that, we're going to have Octopath Traveler and Donkey Kong. Or Dinky King, as I've typed into my notes for what I should talk about today. Because never in the history of my life, when people look back on it, will Steve have ever been able to type any message in his iPhone with O's in it. Why there is an O on the keyboard of an iPhone, I have no idea, because every O I type is an I. So there you are. So I have a copy of Dinky King on the way. Dinky King, Tropical Trees, or something like that. It has been, ladies and gentlemen, an honour and a privilege serving for you in this 155th vlog of the week. And I shall see you all next time. Take it easy, folks. Bye.